Shalom.
Shalom. Let's start by giving our praises to
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Bashem,
Bashem,
Yahushai,
Yahushai,
Bashem,
Bashem,
Rakakwadash.
Rakakwadash. And give double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Sanitation to the hopeful elect that is pushing this word in the four corners, the highways and byways. And once again, I want to give our praises, glory, and honor to
Yahweh, Bashem, Yahushai, Bashem, Rakakwadash.
Alright, this brother is Karia.
What do you call?
And today we're going to a lesson breaking down Ephesians 2 and 11 to about the 15th verse. Alright? Hold on. Let's start 10.
Yeah, this is Ephesians chapter 2, verse 10. It says, For we are his workmanship, created in a Mashiach Yahushai unto good works, which the Most High had before ordained that we should walk in them.
So we are the Yahweh Bashem Yahushai workmanship that is created the good works in a Mashiach. Alright, talking about the elect, because who the world ignorantly called Jesus Christ. He only come to die for the elect. Alright? So, through the Spirit, hopefully if we endure, we are those men, the elect. Okay? Verse 11.
Right, verse 11 it says, Wherefore remember that ye being in time past Gentiles in the flesh, who are called uncircumcision by that which is called the circumcision in the flesh made by hands.
Alright? Who were, called Gentiles in time past. Right? Because we were doing all side of wicked shit, That's why we were called Gentiles. You wanna read to him?
Is it?
1 Peter chapter 4, start 2.
Peter 4 and 2.
Yeah, so we can go back through the 11th verse and then break it down.
Yeah, this is 1 Peter chapter 4 verse 2. That he no longer should live the rest of his time in the flesh to the lust of men, but to the will of the Most High.
See? Because we was in the world living after the lust of the flesh. Alright? But now we living for the works of the Most High. Alright? Read some more.
Yeah, verse 3. For the time past of our life may suffice us to have wrought the will of the Gentiles.
Right? So, in time past, it satisfies us, right? Because the word suffice means to satisfy, alright? Or it satisfies us to work, to walk after the ways of the Gentiles. And that's why we were being called Gentiles, alright? That's why these Israelites that were scattered was being called Gentiles. Alright, because they pick up the custom of the other nations, of the Gentiles. Right? Continue.
It says, when we walked in lasciviousness, lust, excessive wine, reveling, banqueting, and abominable idolatries.
So we was going against the scripture in every form of way. Alright? That was why we were being called Gentiles. Alright? Now read back Ephesians 2 and 11.
Yeah, Ephesians chapter 2 verse 11. Wherefore remember that ye being in time past Gentiles in the flesh,
right,
who are called uncircumcision by that which is called...
Yeah, read 1 Corinthians 12.
Yeah. This is 1 Corinthians chapter 12 verse 2. It says, Ye know that ye were Gentiles carried away unto these dumb idols, even as ye were led.
You see? Right? And matter of fact, it says we were carried away unto these dumb idols by the way we was led. Alright? It say they that rule over thee cause thee to err.
Not sure with it. I'm too sure with it. And if you want to search it.
Is it Isaiah 32? Slovakia. You can pass it to me?
Oh, yeah, can. 3 and 12.
And 12.
Yeah, this is Isaiah chapter 3 verse 12. It says, "As for my people, children are their oppressors, and women rule over them. O my people, they which lead thee cause thee to err, and destroy the way of thy paths."
Can. So, it does just talking about this time too, right? Because our especially our mothers, right? They carrying us in these when we are was coming up, it was carrying us in these our houses, all right? The so-called church, so-called Christian church, all right? And amongst other religious sects as well, you know, right? But that was also going back to because the scriptures say our kings and princes was the chief ones to go after these other nations, all right?
Can.
Motherfucker, see if I can get that real quick.
Yeah, and they actually, expound on it, to say, in Corinthians it says, "Ye know that ye were Gentiles carried away unto these dumb idols, even as ye were led." Yes, the other nations that add us into captivity lead us to serve these idols, all right? But another aspect of it was, these women having that rule over us, because guess what? Like the scripture saying, Sirach, that of the woman came sin. You see, it's a simple thing for a woman to give heed to Esau's doctrine, to accept the ways and customs of these other nations. So what the woman does, she bring her husband into it, and she feed that garbage to the children.
Can.
You see, because they having that rule and that leadership over us.
Yeah, can.
You see?
Right?
Yeah, I guess it.
Yeah, those Yapo always say, it does show exactly, the ways we were being led onto these
dumb
different
idols.
ways we were being led onto idols,
Can.
right? Those by your mother, by your father, by these other nation in captivity, whatever it was, all right? But yeah, because the scripture said, "They that lead thee cause thee to hear," right? So I want to read this real quick. Jeremiah 3, so that is Jeremiah 2, verse 26. "As a thief is ashamed when he is found, so is the house of Israel ashamed." All right? Their kings, their princes, and their priests, and their prophets, saying to a stock, "Thou art my father," and to a stone, "that thou hast brought me forth." For they have turned their back unto me, right? We turn our back onto Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, and not to our face, all right? And the stock and the stone, we're talking about these two main religions that dominate our people: Islam and Christianity. All right? It says, "But in the time of their trouble will they say, Arise and save us," can. Right? So, yeah, that's it. But that was just to show that our prophets, priests, in the days of old, was going after these dumb idols. Hey, like you tell you in Maccabees, they tell you what was his name? Was it Simon? Right? That he motherfucker. Yeah, that he started taking on the custom of the Greeks and start teaching it to the people. All right. Let's see if I can get it real quick. If we get preset by timer. I'm reading this up the other day, man.
Yeah, like the scriptures say, my people are led as like the dumb idols. Salakia, my people are led like the dumb animals to the slaughter, roughly paraphrasing. Get it?
Alright, yeah, let me just get this piece of history. This is Second Maccabees, which this is not the one I'm really looking for, but Second Maccabees chapter 6. Alright? I'll read from 1. "Not long after, this king sent an old man of Athens to compel the Jews to depart from the laws of their fathers and not to live after the laws of the Most High. Alright? And it says, and to pollute also the temple in Jerusalem, and to call it the temple of Jupiter, Olympius, and that in Gerizim of Jupiter, the defender of strangers, as they did desire that dwell in the place. Alright?
Yeah, and they clearly show, especially when you go back into First Maccabees with King Antiochus. That's a perfect example. When he wrote to his entire kingdom that all should be one people. So guess what? Everybody adopted one custom, as in they serve the same God, they eat the same type of food. All right, they dress the same way. You see, and the scriptures say that many of the Israelites also consented to his religion. You want to get it? No.
Right? But let me just finish up on this, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
But chiefly our people was the victim of what? Because this right here in 2 Maccabees 6 is actually talking about Antiochus as well. All right. Our people was chiefly the victim of what he did, because why? These other nations, they still got a custom. All right.
Right.
The so-called East Indians, the so-called Chinese, they still got a custom. All right. But the so-called Negroes, they don't know who they are. All right. So-called Negroes, right? Because it was only the Southern tribes was over there at the time he came. Alright? At the time he was on the scene, it was only the Southern tribes were over there. But continuing, right? And jump to verse 6. It says, neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days or Asian feasts, or to profess himself to be a Jew.
See, and there's proof of Jeremiah chapter 17 verse 4. Where it says that we shall discontinue from our heritage. You see, it was unlawful for us to keep anything that pertained to these scriptures. Anything that related to our heritage, our custom, it was unlawful, We were being put to death for serving Yahweh Bashim Yahushai.
Alright, and I'm going to jump again, right? Verse 9. And whoso will not conform themselves to the manners of the Gentiles.
See, manners. We're going into what your custom. The things that you would do, the clothes you wear, the food you eat, alright? The days that you would celebrate as holy days, everything had to be confirmed to the manner of the Gentiles.
It can't, because it already says in verse 6, it wasn't lawful to keep the feast and the holy days and to circumcise the children and those stuff, alright? But it says here in verse 9, and whoso will not conform themselves to the manner of the Gentiles, to the manner of the Gentiles, should be put to death. Alright? Then might a man have seen the present misery. Alright? It says those that didn't consent to be a Gentile. So what do you mean? A lot of Jews were calling themselves Gentiles.
Exactly, can't.
Plain and simple. Alright?
Yep.
I really wish I get a
paraphrase it, huh?
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, right? Yeah, his name was actually Khan, right? So, alright, let me see if I remember the story correctly, right? Yeah, Khan, I read from one. 2 Maccabees chapter 4 and verse 1. This Simon now, whom we spake afore, having been a bureau of the money of his country, slandered Onias. Alright? So basically Onias was the high priest. And what Simon did, Simon went and and snitch to the other nation. Alright? That we had money in the temple. but the money was supposed to help widows and fatherless children. All right, and it says, as if he had terrified Elidius and been the worker of these evils. Thus was he bold to call him a traitor. All right, because he betrayed his own nation. And the reason why he did it is because he wanted to be called the high priest. All right. Now, when you read through the history, you're gonna find out that he had did a lot of wicked shit when he got into the office of the high priest. All right. You know, if I'm remembering the story correctly, but you know, it went basically something to the effect. All right, greatly to the effect. It says that he deserved well of the city and tendered his own nation and was so zealous of the laws. But when their hatred went so far that by one of Simon's faction murders were committed, Onias, seeing the danger of his contention and that Apollonius, as being the governor of Celeria and Phoenix, did rage and increase Simon's malice, he went to the king not to be an accuser of his countryman, but seeking the good of all, both public and private. For he saw that it was impossible that the state should continue quiet and Simon leave his folly unless the king did look thereunto. Alright? But after the death of Seleucus, when Antiochus called Epiphanes took the kingdom, Jason, the brother of Onias, labored on the hand to be high priest. Right, so it was Jason, the brother of Onias, who got betrayed by Simon, right? Later come and supplant Simon, right? You know, so hey, Israel was wicked, right? It's saying, verse 8, promising unto the king by intercession 360 talents of silver and another revenue 80 talents. Besides this, he promised to assign 150 more if he might have the license to set up a place for exercise and for training up of youth in fashions of the heathen. In the fashions of the heathen, and to write them to Jerusalem by the name of Antiochus. Right? It says, which when the king had granted and he had gotten into his hand the rule.
Salakia, right? So, you know, Jason, if I may add real quick, you know, Jason, you know, he asked for license that these men should be called Antiochans. Alright? So basically that show right there, you know, that they was adopting the customs. They were actually calling themselves Greek names.
No, when you go down farther, we can explain this more.
Yeah, go ahead.
Right? It says, he forthwith brought his own nation to Greekish fashion.
See? Greekish.
See? Right? And what the suffix ish means? To an extent of. Alright? That's why the scripture said that you were Gentiles in the flesh.
Yeah.
Because it's impossible for us to be Gentiles of the spirit. You know? Because our spirit will always be an Israelite spirit. You know? In second Esdras, Mosai even called the Israelites heathens. Alright? But that is not to say that they was of the other nation. It was just to say they was behaving like the other nation. Alright? Well, I just want to get a little more on this. Yeah, I'm gonna jump to 13. It says, now such as the height of the Greek fashion and increase of heathenish manners through the exceeding profaneness of Jason, that ungodly wretch, and no high priest. Alright? You know, so the people that was leading us, even back then, the priests and the kings and the princes, they were all going after these other nations. Alright? Alright? says, yeah, I'm going to read verse 15, right? It says, not setting by the honors of their fathers, but liken the glory of the Grecians best of all.
You see? Hey, and this is the same thing that you see happening today. Everybody think that America is the best of all. You know? They start dressing like the Americans do. Alright, they want to eat GMO foods like the Americans do. Now they even looking like the Americans, obese. Alright? And this just to show how the how Israel was adopting the customs of these Edens and making it their own. Yeah. Ephesian,
so that was just a little bit on the history, you know. It's how our people went up. Alright?
it is Ephesians chapter 2 verse 11. Wherefore, remember that ye being in time past Gentiles in the flesh.
So after Yahushua came and his word was preached, some of those Israelites, alright, that was scattered, that picked up the custom of these other nations, started keeping our customs again. Alright? That's why it says you were Gentiles. Alright? Because really and truly, it's impossible for you to change your nationality. Alright? A Chinese man can wake up one morning and say, you know, he's African American now. You know, it don't make sense. Alright? Yeah.
Yeah, in times past, Gentiles in the flesh, who were called uncircumcision by that which is called circumcision in the flesh, made by hands.
No, we're going to break the part down. Alright? Romans 2 and 25. It says, who were called uncircumcision by that which is called the circumcision in the flesh made by hands. Alright?
Yeah, this is Romans chapter 2 and verse 25. It says, for circumcision verily profited if thou keep the law.
Read about.
It says, for circumcision verily profited if thou keep the law.
Right, so if you are keeping the law, you are counted a circumcision. Right? Or you're being called a circumcision. Go ahead.
Yeah, it says, but if thou be a breaker of the law, thy circumcision is made uncircumcision.
So you can literally take the foreskin and put it back on your penis. It's not possible. Alright? What it's saying is that those that break the law was counted uncircumcision. And those that kept the law was counted circumcision. Alright? So the Jews that was in Israel, Judea, they were counted circumcision. But the Jews and the other 10 tribes that were scattered, they were counted uncircumcision.
Done.
Alright?
Done.
So,
want some on it?
No, I want Peter. Wait, actually, yeah, I guess some more.
You get plenty more, yeah.
Yep, yeah, I guess some
It
more.
says, therefore, if the uncircumcision keep the righteousness of the law, shall not his uncircumcision be counted for circumcision?
So, hey, when those that was cut off, alright, that was outcasts of the nation of Israel, start come back in, then they were start being called circumcision again, alright. Once again, that's why it says you were Gentiles. Alright, and let me read this real quick.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, this is Philippians. Huh?
Yeah, do your thing.
Yeah, this is Philippians chapter 3, and I'll read from verse 3. Philippians 3 verse 3. It says, for we are the circumcision which worship the Most High in the Spirit and rejoice in a Mashiach Yahushai and have no confidence in the flesh. Alright? And this is the Apostle Paul speaking. And if you know anything about him, you know. Alright, let me read on, right? It says, though I might also have confidence in the flesh, if any other man thinketh that he had whereof, he might trust in the flesh I more. Alright, because what the Apostle Paul is saying is that if any man, right, should make his boast in the flesh, all right, he have more works and more things to make his boast in the flesh, basically, right?
Okay.
It says, verse 5, it says, circumcised the 8th day of the stock of Israel, of the tribe of Benjamin, and Hebrew of the Hebrews, as touching the law, a Pharisee. You see? So the Apostle Paul is showing that those that, kept the law, all right, those that were there at the time, that knew that they were Israelites from the beginning, from Salakia, that knew that they were Israelites during the time of Yahushai, they were called, the circumcision. All right, those that were not a part of the commonwealth of Israel, all right, and that were scattered abroad, they were called the uncircumcision. You see, and the Apostle Paul explained it here perfectly, showing that he is an Israelite. He's from the tribe of Benjamin, and he was keeping the laws, as in, he was circumcised the 8th day, and he was a Pharisee. And the Pharisees and the scribes and the Pharisees, they was big on the law. Yeah, this is.
Which they didn't really study the law, because like Yahushai said, if you know the law, you will know me.
Can't.
Alright, because Yahushai is in the law and in the prophets.
Yeah, they was just making a boast in the law.
Yeah, there was boasting in the law. Right? So this is Isaiah chapter 49. Isaiah 49 and verse 5. Yeah. Isaiah 49 and verse 5. It says, and now said the Lord that formed me from the womb to be a servant, to bring Jacob again to him. Alright? I'm going to read that again. And now said the Lord that formed me from the womb to be a servant, to bring Jacob again unto him. Hey, if these other nations were supposed to come unto the Lord this time, alright, it would have been there. Alright? Alright, it says, though Israel be not gathered, yet shall I be glorious in the eyes of the Lord, and my power shall be my strength. It says, and he said, it is a light thing that thou shouldest be my servant, to raise up the tribes of Jacob, and to restore the preserve of Israel. The elect. It says, I will also give thee for a light to the Gentiles, that thou mayest be my salvation unto the end of the earth. Alright? Now, did Isaiah went to the end of the earth? No. That was a prophecy for this time. Alright? Because in this time, the entire nation became Gentile. Right? Because we all discontinued from our heritage at one point. Alright?
Yeah, read back the last part and let me add a precept real quick. Let me think this is the last part that you just read.
It says,
I will send thee to the...
It says, I will also give thee for a light to the Gentiles, that thou mayest be my salvation unto the end of the earth.
See that he was going to give them, for a light unto the Gentiles. Now, the question is, does the scriptures contradict? All right, because Isaiah is saying here that he was sent to be a light unto the Gentiles. All right, and this is Matthew chapter 15 and verse 24. All right, and this is what Yahushua said. He said, but he answered and said, I am not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. You see, and those are the Gentiles, the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Those that lost their way, their custom. All right. Now, Salakia, let me read one more precept for you. Yeah, this is Isaiah, verse 14, and I'll read from verse 14. It's Isaiah 14 and 1. It says, for Yahweh will have mercy on Jacob, and will yet choose Israel, and set them in their own land, and the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. Alright, and the strangers is talking about those that were scattered. You know, that, and to prove that, you know, the word cleave, it means to become one.
Ooh.
Alright, and like the scripture saying Deuteronomy 32, it says that the Most High divided the nations. Alright, the Most High would not divide the nations from the beginning and then join them at the end. No. Alright, the strangers here is talking about those that were scattered.
Yeah,
Like it tell you is that First Peter chapter 1. It's First Peter 1.
Yeah, First Peter 1.
It says to the strangers that are scattered abroad.
Hey,
Alright?
I got a precept for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because really and truly, that was the precept that's about to read now was actually precept at the going I was looking for.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Isaiah 56. Looking at part 6 actually. Yeah. Alright. Yeah. Read Isaiah 56 6.
Yeah, Isaiah 56 verse 6, it says, also the sons of the strangers that join themselves to Yahweh, to serve him, and to love to love the name of Yahweh, to be his servants, every one that keepeth the Sabbath from polluting it, and taketh hold of my covenant.
So it says stranger, right? Alright, jump to verse 8 and let me see who's those strangers.
Verse 8, it says, Yahweh power, which gathereth the outcast of Israel,
Can.
saith, yet will I gather others to him beside those that are gathered unto him.
Can. Alright? So besides the Jews that was already in Judea keeping the laws, alright? The Most High sent his son to redeem the outcasts because they were elect amongst the scattered.
Can.
Alright? So the strangers is talking about the outcasts of Israel. Alright?
Can. Now let me get this Peter that I was paraphrasing. Alright? On the strangers, right? Peter. Yeah, this is First Peter chapter 1, and I'll read from verse 1. It says, Peter, an apostle of Yahushua Mashiach, to the strangers, alright, scattered throughout Pontus, Galatia, Cappadocia, Asia, and Bithynia, elect according to the foreknowledge of the Most High the Father, through the sanctification of the Spirit, unto obedience and sprinkling of the blood of Mashiach Yahushua, grace unto you and peace be multiplied. Alright, but the point is that, you know, to the strangers that are scattered, you know, throughout these places. Alright, and we all know that the elect of the Most High are Israelites, and they tell you that in Revelations. Alright, 12,000 out of every tribe. You see, so there's no getting around it.
Yeah, can. Alright. So back in the Ephesians.
Yeah. 2.
Yeah, 2 and read back 11.
Yeah, reading back Ephesians chapter 2 verse 11. Wherefore remember that ye being in time past Gentiles in the flesh.
Alright, so we already addressed them. We sure it was Israelites that was going off. Alright? It was going after these idols.
Who are called uncircumcision by that which is called the circumcision in the flesh made by hands.
Verse 12.
It says that at the time ye were without a Mashiach, being aliens from the commonwealth of Israel. Alright, an alien meaning stranger, right?
Alright.
Commonwealth of Israel.
Exactly. Right? It says being aliens, right? Give me Colossians 1 and 21. Alright? To help break down, what was this nature that was we was being, aliens in, alright? Or being alienated with, alright?
Colossians chapter 1 verse 21. And you that were sometime alienated and enemies in your mind by wicked works.
By wicked works. Alright? By unlawful deeds. Alright? That's how we became alien. Well,
Says, by wicked works, yet now had reconciled.
hey, pull up. We go to the definition of reconcile. I forgot the one there. The reconcile. Yeah, I forget. Yeah. But they even make it more clear when you look up the definition of reconcile. Colossians 1 and 21. Right? Yeah, this is the definition of reconcile. It says, Shatan by Khan. It says G604. It says to reconcile completely. Definition 2, to reconcile back again. Definition 3, bring back a former state of harmony. Hey, that's clear. Yahushua came to bring back. Alright? I know we came to bring back. It can only be the children of Israel because we had the covenant in the first place. Alright?
Yeah, you can't be brought back to something that you was never a part of.
Exactly. You know? Yeah, can, but that was it. That was it on the definition. You know? Hey, see the scripture?
Ephesians.
Yeah, so it ain't no getting around this, you know? Hey, the scripture says if our gospel be hid, it's hid to them that are lost. Alright? Or that are blind. Roughly paraphrasing. But if you can't see this, then the Most High blind you. Isaiah 6. Alright?
Verse 22.
Verse 12? No, just go back to Ephesians.
Yeah, Ephesians. Let me go this way. Ephesians chapter 2, in verse 12, it says that at that time ye were without a Mashiach, being aliens from the commonwealth of Israel and strangers from the covenant of promise, having no hope and without the Most High in the world.
Right? It says strangers from the commonwealth, from the covenant of the promise. Who the promise was given to? The children of Israel. Right? Having no hope without the Most High in the world. So at the time we wasn't seeking the Most High. We were seeking these dumb idols. Alright? So that's why we was being called strangers, Gentiles, aliens, which all these words just means the same thing. Okay? An alien ain't no man with a green head. No green man with a big head, I mean. And big eyeball. Like Esau is one put in the movie. You know? It just means stranger. Alright? Yeah, can 13?
Yeah, verse 13. But now, Salakiak, let me read two precepts here now about Busha. Yeah, it says that it was talking about and strangers from the covenants of promise, right? And like the brother said that, who the Most High had made a covenant with, right? Now this is and some of the precepts that we went through, alluded to the Most High, gathering the strangers back together, right? Now this is Psalms 15 verse 5. It says, gather my saints together unto me, those that have made a covenant with me by sacrifice. You see, and when you go to Exodus 23, I believe, it show you how that covenant was made between the children of Israel, all right, and the Most High. You see, with Moses sacrificing the lamb and sprinkling the blood and the entire service. All right, and when you go to this is Jeremiah when you go to Jeremiah 31, I'm going to just paraphrase it, right? You know, for the sake of time. When you go to Jeremiah 31:31 and Hebrews 8 and 8, you know, it shows you that both the old covenant and the new covenant, you know, was made with the children of Israel. Alright? There wasn't any Elamites and Edomites and none of that included into that agreement. You know? Yeah, this is it.
Okay. Right?
Yeah. Verse 13.
Yeah.
But now in the Mashiach Yahushai, ye who sometimes were far off are made nigh by the blood of a Mashiach. For he is our hope, for he is our peace. Who, yeah.
Yeah, it says but now in a Mashiach Yahushai, ye who sometimes were far off are made nigh by the blood of a Mashiach. Alright? Now, here James 1:1.
Yeah, this is James chapter 1 verse 1. It says, James, a servant of the Most High and of the Lord Yahushua and Mashiach, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad, greetings.
Alright? So those were the people that were sometime far out. 12 tribes that were scattered abroad. Alright? At the time period